The email arrived at 3 in the morning. I saw the notification light up my phone. It was from Marcus Thorne, the new Chief Executive Officer of Jenner Labs. The subject line was Urgent Jenner Labs Restructuring. I opened it. My division was eliminated, effective immediately. He wrote that my research was deemed unprofitable and non-viable. All assets of the Research and Development Division were being prepared for immediate liquidation. I was instructed to turn in my access card. He expected panic. He expected a frantic, tearful reply. He expected me to beg for my job. My hands did not shake. I took a steady breath. I typed a simple reply. Thank you for the update. I will retrieve my personal items tomorrow morning. I hit send. He would read that. He would be confused. He didn't know. He thought he was starting a war. He was a fool. He was walking into a trap I finished setting 6 years ago. He thought he was auctioning off scrap metal. He had no idea I held the only thing that mattered. My name is Elara Vale. I am 34 years old. I have spent the last 10 years of my life as a research chemist at Jenner Labs. Jenner was not just a job. It was a legacy. It was founded by scientists. We were one of the last pharmaceutical labs in the country that focused on long-term research. We did the hard work. The work that did not pay off in one financial quarter. The work that other, bigger companies abandoned. My project was my entire life. I was developing a breakthrough treatment for Alzheimer's. It was slow work. It was frustrating work. But it was important. My father, Arthur, never understood. He is a retired accountant. He is a good man, but a practical one. He measures life in spreadsheets and profit margins. He always hated my job. He called it academic charity. He told me I was wasting my talent. He wanted me in management. He wanted me to earn a real salary. I would tell him I had a breakthrough in the lab. He would ask, "Did you get a bonus?" I would say no. He would say, "Then it wasn't a breakthrough." Elara. It was just another day. He sent me applications for M.B.A. programs. I found them on my kitchen table when I visited. I told him I was not interested. He said I was being stubborn. I said I was being fulfilled. We stopped talking about my work. It was a wall between us. 8 months ago, everything changed. Jenner Labs was sold. A massive conglomerate called Apex Global bought us. They announced it in a cold press release. They called it a synergy. We knew what it was. We called it a purge. Apex was not a research company. They were a vulture capital firm. They buy legacy companies. They strip them for parts. They fire the employees. They sell the real estate. They sell the patents for pennies on the dollar. They installed Marcus Thorne as the new chief executive officer. Marcus's job was simple. He was the executioner. His resume was public. I looked him up. He had done this 4 times before. He dismantled a publishing house in New York. He bankrupted a textile mill in Ohio. He was a corporate killer. He specialized in maximizing short-term shareholder value. That was the corporate phrase for it. He arrived on a Monday. He was all expensive suits and empty smiles. He held a town hall. He said he valued the Jenner legacy. He lied. I knew this was coming. I am not a fool. I am a scientist. I observe patterns. When I first joined Jenner Labs, 10 years ago, my mentor warned me. He was a brilliant man from the old school. Dr. Abram. He took me to lunch on my first day. He said, "Elara, protect your ideas. This industry is changing. The money men are coming. They don't care about science. They care about assets." He pointed to my new employment contract. I had just signed it. He said, "Look at Section 4. Developed on company premises. Using company resources. That's the trap. They own your thoughts if you have them in this building." I listened to him. I took his warning seriously. I went to the university law library that weekend. I read about intellectual property law. I read my contract. Over and over. Dr. Abram was right. On premises. That was the flaw. That was the loophole. 6 years ago, I had my breakthrough. I was working on the enzyme. The one piece of the puzzle nobody could solve. I knew I was close. The final step. The synthesis. I felt it. I knew this was it. I did not run the test at Jenner Labs. I called in sick for 2 days. I took $2,000 from my own savings. I rented a bench at a private, independent lab downtown. I paid in cash. I signed the logbook as a guest researcher. I ran the synthesis. It took 3 tries. On the 3rd try, it worked. The enzyme was stable. I had it. I had the key. The next day, I hired a patent lawyer. Not the company firm. My own lawyer. I paid him with my credit card. We filed the provisional patent. Enzyme y My name was on it. Elara Vale. Inventor. The patent was granted 6 months later. It was clean. It was legal. It was mine. I put the original, certified document in my safe deposit box. And then I went back to work at Jenner. My patent was the key. The company's decades of research, their failed attempts, their data, their infrastructure. That was the lock. They had a $10 million safe with no key. I had the only key in the world. Neither one worked without the other. For 6 years, I quietly continued my work. I used the lock at Jenner Labs to refine the key. I was biding my time. I was waiting for the right moment. Or for this moment, the end. Marcus Thorne arrived 8 months ago. He was arrogant. He was hasty. Vultures are always hasty. They want to get the money fast. He looked at my division's budget. He saw 10 years of research. He saw millions of dollars spent. He saw no product on the shelf. He was too stupid to ask the right questions. He was too arrogant to believe a quiet chemist in a lab coat might know more than him. He saw a line item to be deleted. He saw a failed project. I saw the men in suits walking the halls 2 weeks ago. They were not scientists. They were appraisers. They were not looking at the equipment. They were putting tags on microscopes. They were measuring the square footage of the building. They were analyzing the land value. They were not measuring the science. They were measuring the real estate. I knew it was time. I went to my office. I began my own liquidation. I did not steal company property. I did not take any proprietary data. I did not need to. I backed up my personal data, my contacts list, my old performance reviews. I emailed them to my private address. I shredded my personal notes. I told my team. I told Ben. I told Maya. They were my 2 best researchers. They had families. I said, "Update your resumes. The end is coming. I will help you when I can." They were scared. I told them to be ready. Then the email came. 3 a.m. The final act. My phone rang again. Just minutes later, I looked at the screen. It was my dad, Arthur. Of course. He was an accountant. He read the financial news wires before he brushed his teeth. He had seen the press release. I answered, "Elara." His voice was frantic. He was yelling, "I just saw the press release. Apex is closing Jenner. They're liquidating the research division. Your division. Are you okay? Are you ruined? 10 years. Elara, 10 years wasted." A strange sound bubbled up from my chest. I laughed. It was not a small laugh. It was a full, clear laugh of relief. The trap was finally sprung. The wait was over. My father was baffled. He was silent. "Elara, why are you laughing? This is your life. This isn't funny. You lost everything. You lost your job. You have no insurance. You have nothing. Did you listen to me? Did you save any money?" I finally caught my breath. I stopped laughing. My voice became cold. It became the voice of a scientist, the voice of a chief executive officer. "I'm fine." "Dad, how can you be fine? You lost your job. Your entire career is gone." "Dad," I said, my voice steady. "I saved the only thing that matters. He thinks he destroyed me. He has no idea what he just did. He didn't take anything from me. He gave me everything." "What are you talking about? Where are you? It's 3 a.m. You're not at home." "No," I said. I looked around the quiet, empty room. The rows of books, the smell of old paper. I'm not at home. I'm at the university library. I've been here all night. I'm on the International Patent Registry. I'm filing the final documentation for Europe and Asia. He thinks he's auctioning scrap metal. He just gave me a 10-year head start. He just gave me my freedom. The next morning, I was locked out. My access card was deactivated. Ben and Maya called me. They were crying. They had shown up for work. Security guards escorted them out of the building. They were told their positions were gone. Ben had worked at Jenner for 25 years. His pension was gone. Apex had frozen it. Maya was a single mother. She had 2 children. She had a mortgage. She was terrified. I told them to stay calm. I told them I was working on a plan. They did not understand. They just felt the loss. 2 days later, Marcus Thorne made his next move. He issued a press release. Apex Global was announcing a public auction. They were selling all intellectual property assets from the failed Jenner R&D division. The press release listed the patent numbers. It included my entire life's work. The lock. Marcus called it surplus academic data. He was selling it for scrap. He needed to justify the closure. He needed to control the narrative. The local business journal started asking questions. Why close a division that was working on an Alzheimer's cure? So Marcus launched his smear campaign. He found a journalist. Her name was Chloe. She was young, ambitious, and she wrote for a popular tech blog. Marcus leaked her a story. He told her I was a disgruntled employee. He told her my research was a dead end. He told her I had been fired for performance issues. Then he added the poison. He told her I had stolen company notebooks. He accused me of theft. The article came out that afternoon. The headline was, "Disgraced Jenner Chemist Fired Amidst Restructuring." My phone began to ring. Colleagues. Friends. They were confused. Then the legal threat arrived. It was a cease and desist letter from Apex's legal team. They were a massive, expensive law firm. The letter was thick. It accused me of intellectual property theft. It cited the article Chloe had written. It demanded I return any stolen materials. It threatened an immediate injunction. It threatened millions of dollars in damages. This was his trap. He wanted to ruin my reputation. He wanted to make me unemployable. He wanted to scare me into silence. That evening, my father arrived at my apartment. He had driven 3 hours. He was not there to comfort me. He was furious. He was holding a copy of Chloe's article. It was crumpled in his fist. "I told you," he yelled. He threw the paper on my table. "I told you this would happen. 10 years wasted. Academic charity. And for what to be called a thief. To be fired in disgrace. Dad, it's not true." "It doesn't matter if it's true," he shouted. "It's in print. You're unemployable. Elara, you're ruined. You have no job. You have no savings. You're being sued." "I am not ruined." "You are." I called them. I called Apex's Human Resources Department. My blood went cold. "You did what?" I told them you were distraught. I told them this was a misunderstanding. He pulled an envelope from his pocket. He threw it on the table. "They're offering a settlement. $5,000. It's an insult. But you have to take it. You have to sign it. It includes a non-disclosure agreement. It makes the lawsuit go away." "I'm not signing that." "You have to," he pleaded. His anger was turning into desperation. "They will destroy you. Elara. They have hundreds of lawyers. We have nothing. Sign the paper. Take the $5,000. Come home with me. You can get your M.B. A2. You can start over. This part of your life is over." I looked at my father. He really believed this. He believed I had lost. I was calm. I picked up the settlement offer. I tore it in half. I dropped the pieces on the floor. "Elara," he screamed. "Dad. Sit down. You are an accountant. I need you to stop being my father. I need you to be an accountant." He was confused. The anger stopped. He just stared at me. I walked to my desk. I picked up the cease and desist letter. I handed it to him. Read this. They are threatening to sue me for millions. He read it. His face went pale. This is terrible. Yes. Now read this. I handed him the article by Chloe. They are accusing me of stealing my own work. They are destroying my reputation. I know, he said. That's why you have to settle. No, I said. I walked to my fireproof safe. I opened it. I took out a single, bound document. Now, I need you to read this. I handed him the certified patent, the one with the gold seal, the one from the United States Patent and Trademark Office. He looked at the cover. He read the title, Enzyme Evi. He opened it. He read the inventor's name, Inventor Elara Vale. He looked at me. He looked back at the patent. He read the date. 6 years ago. Elara, what is this? That, Dad, is the key. That is my work. That is the drug. Marcus is auctioning the lock. He thinks it's scrap. He doesn't know I own the only key that opens it. He can't use his data. I can't use my patent. Alone. They are worthless. Together. They are a cure for Alzheimer's. And I own the key. My father, the accountant, was silent. He read the patent number. He read the legal description. He understood ownership. He understood assets. The color drained from his face. Then it returned as a dark, cold anger. An anger I had never seen in him. It was not directed at me. He doesn't know, he whispered. No, he's an arrogant fool. He's a vulture. He just wants the land. He's too stupid and too hasty to do his due diligence. He's accusing you of stealing, but he's the one. Yes. My father stood up. He walked to my kitchen table. He put the patent down gently. He looked at the torn settlement offer on the floor. He looked at the threatening letter. He looked back at the patent. The entire dynamic between us shifted. It was the first time in my life he looked at me, not as his impractical daughter, but as an equal, or maybe, as a client. These people, he said, his voice low and precise. These apex global people, they are sloppy. Vultures are always sloppy. They move too fast. They think they are smarter than everyone. They leave a trail, an accountant's trail. He looked at me. I'm taking a leave of absence. Dad, what? I'm taking a leave of absence from the firm. I'm retired. As of today, you need an accountant. You need a forensic accountant. He pointed at my kitchen table. This is my new office. Pull every public filing for Apex Global. I want their annual reports. I want their quarterly statements. I want their shareholder letters. He threatened my daughter. I am going to find his money. For the first time in days, I felt a new kind of strength. It was not just my own. I had a plan. I had 2 parts. Part 1 was my father. Part 2 started the next day. I called a lawyer. His name was Julian. He was a top intellectual property lawyer. He was expensive. I sent his office 1 document. My patent. He called me back 20 minutes later. Miss Vale, I've cleared my schedule. Can you be here in 1 hour? I will be working on contingency. This is the most beautiful legal case I have ever seen. I met with Julian. I explained the contract loophole. I showed him the on-premises clause. I showed him my receipts from the independent lab. He was stunned. He said, "He didn't just let you go. He set you free, and he's about to find out." I had 1 more call to make. I called the journalist, Chloe, the one who wrote the smear article. She answered, "Chloe, this is Elara Vale." Her voice was cold. "I have no comment." "I don't want to comment." I said, "I'm calling to give you a tip." "A tip, after what my source said." "Your source is Marcus Thorne." I said, "He's lying to you. He's using you to justify a land deal." She was silent. "He told you my research was a dead end." "Correct. That it was worthless." Yes, she said, cautiously. Then ask him one question. Ask him why Apex Global is paying a $5 million consulting fee to a public relations firm that specializes in reputation management just for this one acquisition. Ask him why he needs to spend $5 million to shut down one worthless's lab. I gave her the name of the firm, the one I had seen on a stray invoice. Follow the money. Chloe, I said. A good journalist follows the money. I hung up the phone. The trap was set. My father was hunting the financials. The lawyer was preparing the shield. And the journalist was sniffing the blood. Marcus Thorne was about to find out what a disgraced chemist could do. My father worked for 3 days straight. My kitchen table disappeared. It was buried under stacks of paper. Annual reports. Quarterly filings. Shareholder statements. He was silent. He just drank coffee and highlighted lines. On the third evening, he finally spoke. Got him. I walked over. He pointed to a line item in an Apex quarterly report. Consulting fees. $5 million. I saw that, I said. That's what I told Chloe about. Yes, my father said. But I followed the money. I cross-referenced the payment with their creditor filings. The $5 million went to a public relations firm. Veritas Strategic. The smear campaign. I said. Exactly. He spent $5 million to call you a thief. That's a stupid transaction. It's wasteful. The board will hate that. He smiled. It was a cold, satisfied smile. An accountant's smile. But I found something better. He pulled out another file. The lab building. The land. Marcus is fast-tracking the sale. We knew that. That's the motive. Yes. But I checked the buyer. It's a brand new limited liability company. Bedford Properties. It was formed 2 months ago. It has no history. It has no other assets. He handed me a printout from the state's corporate database. So I ran a check on the registered agent for Bedford Properties. He tapped the paper. The agent is Marcus Thorne's brother-in-law. It was a blatant conflict of interest. He was using Apex money to buy Apex land for his own family, hiding it behind a shell company. He was stealing from his own shareholders. He was fast-tracking the sale before the intellectual property auction was even complete. He was that greedy. He was that hasty. While my father found the money, the journalist found the proof. Chloe called me. Her voice was completely different. It was not cold. It was angry. You were right, she said. He's lying. I made some calls. I found a source. Someone inside Apex. They're furious about the Jenner closure. They saw what Marcus did. What did they give you? An email. The smoking gun email. From Marcus Thorne to the Apex board. From 3 months ago. Before he even met you. She read it to me over the phone. It was chilling. I will move to shutter the Legacy Research and Development Division at Jenner. We can auction off the dead patents for a quick third-quarter write-off. This will look good on the books. The real value, however, is the land. I estimate we can clear the building and sell the real estate by end of year. The R&D staff are academics. They are weak. They suspect nothing. He had called my life's work dead patents. He had called me weak. He had put his entire criminal plan in an email. He was that arrogant. Chloe continued. My source confirmed it. He never evaluated the science. He just wanted the land for his brother-in-law's new company. This is bigger than just you. Elara. This is corporate fraud. When will you publish? I asked. Soon, she said. I need to verify the land deal. I need to contact Marcus for a comment. That was the trigger. The moment Chloe called Marcus, he knew he was exposed. He did not call me. It escalated. The next day, Ben and Maya received legal notices. They were not cease and desist letters. They were lawsuits. Marcus had filed a second injunction. This one named them personally. It accused my 2 colleagues of conspiracy to commit intellectual property theft. Maya called me. Hysterical. He's suing me. Elara. He says I'm part of your plan. He's going to take my house. I have children. Ben was terrified. I can't fight this. I have no money. I have to sign whatever he wants. This was his move. He was trying to isolate me. He was trying to hurt the people I cared about. He was trying to force me to back down. That night, I received a call. It was an unknown number. I answered. It was not Marcus. It was a cold, professional voice. Elara Vale. Miss Vale. The voice said. This is a courtesy call. You are playing a game you cannot win. You are interfering with a multi-billion-dollar corporation. You need to stop. If you do not, the lawsuits against your former colleagues will proceed. We will ruin them. Then we will ruin you. You will never work in this industry again. Do you understand me? I took a breath. I understand you perfectly. And I have a message for you to give Marcus. We are not. Tell him he is a fool. I said, and tell him I will see him in court. I hung up the phone. I played the conversation for my father. I had recorded it. His face was gray. Elara. This is dangerous. These people are threatening you. They are threatening your friends. I know. I said. It's not dangerous. It's disparity. He's scared. He's sloppy. And he just made his final mistake. He thinks I'm reacting. He doesn't know I have a plan. My father looked at me. What plan? We have the evidence. We give it to the lawyers. No, I said. That's a defensive plan. I have an offensive plan. He called my work dead. I'm about to show him the resurrection. I went to my computer. I opened my bank accounts. I had been saving for 10 years. For a house. For a future. I liquidated my savings. All of it. What are you doing? My father asked. I'm hiring a lab. I said. A contract research organization. The best one in the state. I spent the next 2 days on the phone. I hired the CRO. I signed the contract. I transferred the money. On Monday morning, I walked into their state-of-the-art facility. I brought one thing. My patent. The key. What do you need? The lab director asked. I need the lock. I said. It's public information. Marcus Thorne published the entire Jenner patent library when he announced his stupid auction. I need you to download all of it. For 48 hours. We worked. I didn't sleep. I directed their team. We took Marcus's dead patents. We took my key. We put them together. The synthesis worked on the first try. It was stable. It was potent. It was the cure. I took the data. I took the synthesis logs. I went back to my lawyer. Julian. What is this? He asked. It's the proof. I said. He called it dead. I just proved it's alive. Julian smiled. This is beautiful. This is the weapon. He drafted the paperwork. I signed it. We were not filing a lawsuit. We were filing an application. We sent the entire package to the Food and Drug Administration. The FDA. We applied for fast-track status for a breakthrough Alzheimer's treatment. My father was stunned. You're not suing him. You're starting the company. Yes. I said. The trap is set. Now we just have to spring it. I coordinated the attack with my lawyer and the journalist. We agreed to strike at the same moment. Monday morning, 9 o'clock, when the stock market opened. At 9 o'clock sharp, 2 things happened. First, Chloe's article dropped. It was on the front page of the Business Journal. The headline was explosive. Apex Chief Executive Officer shutters billion-dollar Alzheimer's drug for conflict of interest land deal. It was devastating. It contained Marcus's dead patents email, the smoking gun. It contained my father's forensic accounting, the shell company, the brother-in-law, the $5 million smear campaign. It laid out the entire criminal conspiracy. Second, at 9/1, my press release hit the wire. It was sent to every major pharmaceutical and financial news outlet. The headline was simple. Chemist Elara Vale, former head of Jenner R&D, announces successful FDA1 fast-track application for breakthrough Alzheimer's treatment. The press release contained the science. It contained the data from the CRO. It announced the formation of my new company, Vale Laboratories. The market understood immediately. The financial world is not stupid. They can read. Apex Global didn't just miss a billion-dollar drug. Apex Global's chief executive officer hadn't just fired the inventor. He had publicly lied about it. He had called the drug dead. He had tried to ruin the inventor. And he had done it all to facilitate a petty, illegal land deal for his family. He was not just a criminal. He was an idiot. We watched the stock market ticker. My father had it open on his laptop. At 9:05, Apex Global's stock began to fall. At 9:15, it was in a free fall. At 9:30, the exchange halted trading on the stock. It was a complete collapse. He had wiped out billions in shareholder value. In 30 minutes, Marcus Thorne's career was over. The Apex board of directors convened an emergency meeting. We found out later from Chloe's source. They did not even let Marcus in the room. They fired him via a text message. He was a scapegoat. The board immediately issued a new press release. They claimed they were shocked and appalled by the rogue actions of a single executive. They claimed they had no knowledge of his land deal. They claimed he had misled them. They threw him to the wolves. But they had one last disparity move. They had to try to get the drug. Their lawyers called my lawyer. They were not threatening this time. They were trying to negotiate. When that failed, they tried to sue. They filed an emergency injunction. They claimed my new company, Vale Labs, was fruit of the poisonous tree. They claimed that even if I owned the key, the lock was still their property. They said I had no right to use their dead patents. They were wrong. We met in a federal judge's chambers for the injunction hearing. It was not a trial. It was a slaughter. Their lawyers argued for an hour. They blustered. They yelled. They accused me of theft. Then Julian Milavier stood up. He did not yell. He was calm. He placed 4 documents on the judge's desk. Your Honor, he said, this is a simple case. First, this is Elara Vale's original employment contract from Jenner Labs. Please note, Section 4. It states the company owns research developed on premises. Second, here are the receipts and lab logs from an independent facility, dated 6 years ago, for the synthesis of her enzyme. It was not developed on premises. Third, here is the certified United States patent for that enzyme. The inventor is Elara Vale. It is my name only. It is her private property. Julian paused. He picked up the 4th document. And finally, Your Honor, here is a printout of an email from Marcus Thorne, the former chief executive officer of Apex Global. He sent this to his own board. In it, he declares all of this research, the lock as they call it, to be dead, worthless, and academic scrap. He then published all of those patents in a public auction notice. He did not sell them. He abandoned them. He declared them publici juris, dead, worthless. Julian looked at the judge. You cannot claim something is stolen. Your Honor, after you have thrown it in the garbage in front of the entire world, Marcus Thorne did not just set Elara Vale free, he insisted she take this research. He wrote it down. Case dismissed. The judge looked at the Apex lawyers. He was furious. Get out of my courtroom. Apex settled that afternoon. They did not just settle. They capitulated. They issued a full, public apology to me. They issued apologies to Ben and Maya. The settlement was massive. It was a multi-million-dollar payment. It was enough to fund my company for a decade. 1 year later, I stood in the lobby of Vale Laboratories. It was a new building. Clean. All glass and white stone. It was filled with light. My father stood next to me. He was wearing a suit. He was not retired. He was my chief financial officer. He ran my company's finances. Ben was my new chief science officer. Maya was our head of research. We had hired back 12 other scientists from the old Jenner team. Our clinical trials were in phase 2. They were promising. My father looked out the window. He was watching the scientists walk across the campus. "You know," he said, "I never understood what you did. All those years, I thought it was just charity." "I know, Dad. I was wrong," he said. He turned to me. "But I still have one question I have to ask." "What is it?" "That night," he said, "the night you got the email, the night I called, you were laughing. I thought you were hysterical. I thought you had broken. Why did you laugh?" "Elara." I smiled. I thought about that moment. The 3 a.m. email. The end of my world. The beginning of my life. I wasn't laughing at him. "Dad," I said. "I was laughing at me. I was laughing because I finally understood. For 10 years. I had been so focused on the work. I was hiding in the lab. I was afraid to be bigger. I was afraid to be what you wanted me to be. A leader." I pointed to the lab. I thought Marcus was taking my job. But he wasn't. He was giving me my company. He was forcing me to be free. He was the one thing I never had a catalyst. The fire I needed to finally start my own life. My father nodded. He understood. "An accountant," he said. "And a scientist. We make a good team." "Yes, we do, Dad," I said. He thought my passion was impractical. I thought his practicality was limiting. We were both wrong. We learned that we needed both. The vision, and the structure, the key, and the lock. Have you ever had a moment in your life that felt like a total disaster? A moment where you lost everything, only to look back later and realize it was the one thing that had to happen to set you on the right path? Tell me your story in the comments below. We all have moments of fire and restructuring. And sometimes, those moments are not an ending. They are a beginning. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more stories of resilience and finding your own strength. And share this with someone who might be in their own fire right now. They might need to hear that this is not the end. It's just the start. Thank you for listening.